Hello, hello. Let's make sure we're started here on Facebook. Hello, we are here live in our Facebook group. If you are watching this in the future on YouTube or on the podcast, show notes will be at purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 453. And if I sound a little funny, I just had dental work done and they numbed my mouth, and it's been so long since my mouth has been numbed. So it was like, I can record this, and as I'm talking, my mouth is just it's a little funny. It's a little funny. So thank you for bearing with me. I am going live in our Facebook group for our weekly live. Yep, I can feel it. My mouth is not, it's not working like I'd like it to. Because I want to talk to you today about how to plan your week when you have no time. All right. And listen, if you're watching this live, it is mid-March. If you're listening to this in the recorded podcast, it is the week of our summit. So you need to go to purposedrivenmom.com/2025 summit. Go get your tickets because we are here. We are talking about how you can own your day, have it your way, get things done as a busy mom. And tickets are now ready for you. Today, though, what I'm going to talk about is how to plan your week when you have no time. Like, I'm going to give you 3 things that I think are highly recommended for you to do so that you can plan your week even when you're feeling stressed out, even when it feels impossible. Because even with a packed schedule, tiny little tweaks in your planning can make you feel more in control. And that's really what I want for you. I have noticed that I've shared this before, right? I'm thinking, when's the week going to be perfect? When's everything going to be a certain way? It's not. So now that I've kind of accepted, my therapist calls it radical acceptance, right? We don't have to like it, but we can accept it for what it is. Once you hit this point of radical acceptance, you're then able to move forward. Now that I've kind of realized, like, probably not going to have a typical week. Very rare I have a 5-day work week, especially a 5-day work week where I don't have something else that isn't work. I can't even tell you when I had 5, full 9 to 3 days where I wasn't just doing work. Purpose Driven Mom Summit will probably be the first in a year. I think that's like the 1 week of the year. I don't put anything else on my calendar. I say no to everything so that I can focus. Once I've accepted that, I realize that while I don't have a ton of time to just plan everything out, I can do a few things. I'm going to give you a 3-part little plan to anchor into that will make my week feel a little bit better. Okay. But here's the thing. I get planning feels impossible. Now, we do planning in the Purpose Driven Mom Club every single Sunday. Get on for about a half hour just to have the accountability, just to have other people there, just to sit and plan together. And that really helps. It's one of the tips I'll give you later on is plan with other people. But it can be hard to say, it's Sunday, let me pull out my planner, let me do all my things, because we have constant interruptions. I know that on Sundays when I go to plan my week, my kids will inevitably find me, right? They know that I'm here. They want to be in my space, right? The phone is ringing. Something's going on, right? There's also that emotional fatigue. I'm just tired. When I get to planning my week, I'm like, all right, we made it to the week, right? We got a lot done. Oh, wait, now it's this in our brains hamster wheel that I'm back on. Now I've got to juggle another role. Now I've got to go meal prep, and I've got to do laundry, and I've got to get ready for scouts for the week, and I've got to get my work stuff done and my personal goals. And because it feels like it never ends, it feels exhausting, right? So there's that. And also, sometimes our brain can say, like, what's the point in planning? I'm just going to get another curveball thrown at me, right? Like, life's just going to throw something else. But here's the thing. I just want to tell you, that's all reality. I'm not going to diminish that. I'm not going to tell you that curveballs are, heck, I planned on sitting down and doing this live today. I did not expect my mouth to be as numb as it is as I'm talking. I'm like, I'm a little spitty here. Okay, thank you in advance for your grace, right? It's life, right? Like, that's real. But if you have a simple, flexible plan, it can make you feel more calm. I will tell you that every Sunday, when I sit down at Sunday planning with our 100-something plus members of the Purpose Driven Mom Club, we have about 40 that get on live, right? And we sit and plan. I always start feeling like the emoji where the brain is exploding, right? Like I start feeling like that. And then I get to the point where I feel more in control. I feel more centered. I feel less stressed, and I feel ready to conquer the week. And it's because I have a planning system. Now, I have a full planning system I teach in my program, but on this live today, I'm just going to talk to you about 3 of the things that I think will really, really, really help make it feel less daunting and help shift your mindset from I must plan every single thing to like, I just need to anchor into something this week. Because when everything feels overwhelming, nothing feels like it's doable. And again, I hear you. I am literally I was on the phone with my mom today and I was like, I'm trying, mom. I'm trying really hard. Like we're coming out of Girl Scout cookie season. I'm a Girl Scout leader. So, if you know, you know, right? So we're coming out of that. We're right smack dab in the middle of national season for cheer. So we're traveling in a couple weeks and then we'll be traveling again, like going down to Florida. Like we have all of that. I'm running my sister's baby shower, which is happening in about a month. I'm running a tea party for about 100 little Brownie and Daisy Girl Scouts next weekend, right? Like, it doesn't end. In my brain, I said to my mom, I'm like, I'm just feeling like there's too much. And she reminded me, because my mom, she attends all my summits. She listens to my advice, when it comes to productivity stuff. She said, what would you say to one of your moms, right? Like, how would you, she's like, what, just do 15 minutes. It's so funny because my mom's been coming to my events since the beginning. And she'll call me whenever I actually don't know if she listens to my podcast. But if you do, mom, hey. But I know she comes to the summits and she'll call me when she's working on her goals and she'll be like, oh, I did that 15-minute thing. I got 15 minutes in. And she told me, she gave my aunt advice. She was like, she was working on packing and I just said, just do 15 minutes at a time. Like, it's super cute, right? But she did remind me of that thing. I was making it feel too big. And instead, I could slow my thinking, slow my pressure, and just say, what can I do? So let me give you 3 things that when you're feeling like you have no time to even plan or no time to get things done can help. Okay, 1, the priorities. Now, I know that there's the concept of the big 3, and I get it and I like it. I prefer a micro 3 approach because if I only ever worked on 3 things in like my life, other things wouldn't get done. But what I want you to do in order to pick your priorities for the week is ask yourself a couple questions. One of them is, what season is this week for me? Now, I teach a concept of 4 seasons: plan, push, rest, and fun. And I think that when you plan your month and your quarter, as long as you make sure you have some of that at some point, you're going to feel more aligned and balanced. I have less rest and fun right now. It's summit season. We're getting everything ready. I just told you 800 other things I'm doing. As in the summer, it's more my rest and fun season, okay? And also, each day is a little different and each week is a little different. So looking at the week that I'm in right now and next week, I would say definitely feels more like a push week. When I'm in real time. Again, I'm filming this in March in the Facebook group, Search Purpose Driven Mom Community. Come join. But if you're watching later on YouTube and on the podcast, it's early April. So these next couple weeks in March, this week, next week, definitely a bit of a push week. The last week in March, it's going to be a rest and a fun week. Even though taking my daughter to a cheer comp isn't always restful for me, we're taking a couple days off. We're going to travel a couple days early. The whole family is going. We're getting a hotel. I'm taking a lighter work week. It's going to be more fun. So every single week's a little different. So the question you want to ask yourself first is, what season is this week for me? And what season is it for the different areas of my life? If you have a push week in work, I don't recommend planning a push week for your personal life. That's when things kind of hit this point of this feels impossible and hard. So starting with, what is my season? And then ask yourself the question, based on this season that this week is, what would make me feel successful by the end of the week? What is my vision? And then maybe making a list. If I completed these things this week based on the fact that I'm in a plan season, based on the fact that this is a rest, sometimes we'll be like, I'm in a rest season, but I also need to do 12 things this week. It doesn't align, right? My push season, I'm going to have a big list of what feels successful. My rest season, for me, honestly, the week we travel for cheer, success is going to look like I don't bring my laptop. I'm not checking work emails, even though it's pretty much the week before summit starts. I'm taking that weekend to be with my family, right? That's what success is going to feel like. I'm not on my phone as much, etc. So step 1 of anchoring into this 3-part plan to plan your week is, what is your season, and picking your priorities. I would pick maybe 3 things max that you're like, if I got them done by the end of the week, I'd feel successful. That way, you know how to manage your time. You know how to focus your time. You know how to say, this is where I want to go, okay? The next thing I'm going to recommend is focus blocks, themed blocks. I love a good time block. I love to time block my day with themes. Themes help you feel less scattered. And I will tell you, there are definitely times where I don't use this method and I feel it. I'm like, let me go run an errand now. Let me go work on Girl Scout stuff now. Oh, now I'm doing work. And I just feel like I'm ping pong, right? Back and forth. When you make thematic blocks in your day, it not only makes your brain feel safe. Oh, I know that this Girl Scout task popped up. I don't have to do it right now because I have a Girl Scout task block for later today or tomorrow. But it also allows it to say, like, that's where stuff's gonna go. I can relax. I don't have to stop and drop. I don't have to rush around, right? So go ahead, take your week and look at it. And listen, if you are like, I'm not ready to do a full-time blocking, maybe just split it into quarters, right? 4 quarters of the day. I like to have a morning, like a mid-afternoon, a what is this time, this after school block for us, that 3 to 7 we're doing activities. I don't even know what's happening. It's about to be spring sports season. My son's playing baseball for the first time. Like, I don't even know what's going to happen. You know that block, right? So if I was saying that before, how you might feel like the emoji with the brain exploding, that block to me feels like the tornado emoji, right? And then post activities, right? Like evening time for me. And then ask yourself, what is my theme and my focus area for that block? Let me grab a drink of water real quick. Sorry. If you're just getting on the live, hello. I had oral dental work done today. My mouth's still numb. It's coming off being numb right now. So I'm feeling it a little bit as I dribble the water. Anyway, go through, theme out your things, right? Theme out your blocks and then ask yourself, what's the focus area for this block? Okay, I'm looking at my week. Monday from 12 to 3, that's when I'm going to go run all my errands. And this is something I've had to catch myself on lately and I've been doing a lot better of, is I had to stop myself too, because I really want to be like, oh, I got to go to run that errand. I'm just going to go run that errand. And I had to stop myself to say, it doesn't have to happen today. It can happen later. Like, I even get caught into it. And so this week I've really challenged myself to say, wait for the errands block. Every time something pops up that I'm like, oh, but I do have time. You know, the time you get in your car, drive to the library, drive back from the, like, transition in and out, getting back into work mode, like, I'm losing so much time. So I've really been challenging myself to do more focused work and sticking back to my methods. So saying, great, I know that Wednesday from 12 to 3, I'm going to run all my errands. When errands pop up, that's where it's going to go. I'm not going to worry about it. When I say this is work time, this is work time. This is, and again, this is the pep talk I got to give to myself too sometimes, right? Because working from home is so challenging because I want to do other things. I want to go meal prep. I want to go do the laundry. I want to do the dishes. I want to work on scout stuff. I'm at the booster club for cheer. Like, I volunteer a couple times a week and volunteer. Like, there's so many things I want to do. And then I'm like, oh, right, my job, right? Like, I also have to sit and work and I can't keep getting distracted with other things. So going through and making your focus areas, and again, you don't have to do all the time blocks. You can even just do morning, afternoon, evening, or if you want to add a tornado block in and have 4 blocks, that works too. And then saying, this is what's going to go, and these are my priorities for each one. And then to couple that, strategy 3 really goes hand in hand, and that's the batching. I have plenty of episodes on batching, but doing your errands together. Instead of, I like to do a little laundry every day, but maybe you're like, all right, instead of 1 load a day, I'm going to work on just having a laundry day this week because I'm in a push week. So I don't have time every day to sit and do the laundry, but I can do it for 1 full block on the weekend or something like that. Putting those things together. And then also, bonus tip here is combining, using what we call habit triggers, things together for efficiency. Okay, so I'm listening to the book Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins in our book club. We have a book club in the Purpose Driven Mom Club, which will be opening next week. So go to purposedrivenmom.com/club, get on the wait list and for when we open. We only open 4 times a year, so you're going to want to get on that list now. But we're listening to that for book club, right? I want to get that done, but instead of making it another thing, that's honestly been one of my biggest lessons this whole year, is stop making something another thing, right? Is how can I couple that with what I'm already doing, right? So I've been doing a lot of walking, boom, exercise, learning, folding laundry. You will not catch me folding laundry without an AirPod in or watching a video, because that time is there, so why not use it efficiently, right? This is the same combination of things that has helped me with my meal prep. I've been on a from scratch year. It's been a really great first quarter. I am thrilled with what has happened. And one of the things, again, back to the like everything feels like it's another thing, is I just asked myself, is there something I can prep every single day? 5 times a week, probably. I'm making something fresh from scratch to either put like in my freezer, or restock, just to restock stuff, even if I don't need it. So right now we have half a loaf of bread sitting on the counter. Dope. The bread is done. Bread will last a couple more days. I don't have anything I need to make today. So what I'm going to do, actually what I'm doing right now, is making 2 loaves of bread so I can stick them in the freezer. Now bread it's easy. Don't get scared. Sandwich bread is easy. Sourdough I haven't even tried because that scares me a little, but sandwich bread is easy, right? But it takes time, right? You got to put in your yeast and let it activate for 15 minutes. Put in your dough, let it sit you have to let it sit for an hour to an hour and a half. Then you punch it down, then it has to sit for another hour, then you get to cook it, right? So it takes time, but it isn't time consuming, if that makes sense. So one of the things that has helped me is asking myself, how can I maximize the time that I need? So when you're planning it in, I want to encourage you to be like, I don't have time for stuff. Ask yourself the question, how can I couple things together? Now I'm going to give you another bonus tip of that white space, that buffer time that I just so love. Just give yourself more time than you think you need. Give yourself a little bit of margin. And you're like, Cara, I don't have enough time to do anything on my list. How am I going to give myself extra time? Because you're going to leave it there. Now, there's a principle that says that the task will expand to the time you give it. So if I say that I have 5 hours to record a podcast episode, I can stretch that out, right? Like I will take the 5 hours. But I said to myself, okay, what time is it? I started this, 16 minutes ago. And I said, I wanted to get this podcast episode done by 2. So I need to get going. I don't have time. Let's roll. And so do you know what I actually did? Because I wanted to get distracted, right? I wanted to do something else in my house. I had other things in the other room that were calling me. I mopped my floor, which took me 15 minutes. And I locked myself. You ever mop lock? I locked myself in with the wet floor into my office. So I was like, well, I can't leave my office, can't get distracted, can't turn the TV on, can't go do another task. So while I'm sitting here, I might as well get this thing done. I literally had to trick myself because even I need those strategies, okay? So ask yourself, where can I add in a little bit of buffer, because that will make you feel less stressed. That will give you a little bit more of peace of mind. And I promise, if you give yourself a little buffer and you tighten the window to complete a task, you will rise to the occasion. If you say, I need to get this laundry folded before dinner, you're going to get it folded before dinner. If you say, I need to get this laundry folded by the end of the day, you're going to take all day to do it. So when you're planning out your week, maybe tighten things for yourself just a smidge, and give yourself that buffer, right? Give yourself that space. All right, let me check my notes real quick. I think I got it all. Listen, this is going to come out the first week in April. If you're listening on the podcast, hello, or watching on YouTube, a purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 453. But if you're live in the Facebook group and you want to talk more about this, drop a comment. I'll be back in the group later to answer them. And a purposedrivenmom.com/2025 summit. Actually, let me make sure I'm not saying it backwards. Let me make sure it's not summit 2025. It is a purposedrivenmom.com/2025 summit. Go get your absolutely free summit ticket. When this is going on, the podcast is the week of summit. So I will see you there. If you didn't get your ticket, it is not too late. Come and join us. Otherwise, thanks for being a part of our live Facebook community. Thank you for chatting with me, and I'll see you soon.